One day, the new gate became a death game, making it impossible for players to log out, and our protagonist Shin kept fighting to beat the game. We then see Shin leaving to fight the final boss of the game, and his friends ask him to take care of himself. Afterward, Shin fights the final boss and tries to take its head, but the final boss dodges, and Shin only manages to cut off its wing. The boss then regenerates its wing, and Shin keeps on attacking. After a long battle, he chips down almost all of its HP and takes out the final boss with one of his skills. He then hears an announcement telling him that the dungeon has been cleared and that players can now log out. Shin is happy that it's finally over and uses a scroll to check if everyone is able to log out. He notices the names of players disappearing from the scroll, and one by one, all players log out, leaving him as the only one left. He then tries to log out as well, but notices a gate appearing behind him and wonders why there are still events happening in the game. Afterwards, Shin opens his eyes in a grassland and realizes that this place looks far too realistic to be a game. He checks the menu and notices he can still pull up game windows. He finds out his stats have improved significantly, likely because he defeated the final boss. He tries to log out now that he has beaten the game, but the logout option is gone. He also checks if anyone else is online, but the scroll doesn't work since he is not connected to the network. He thinks he shouldn't even be able to move if he's not connected and begins to wonder if this is reality. Unable to understand anything, he uses an item to locate his home base. On the way there, he notices a giant walled city that wasn't present before. Eventually, he arrives at his house and finds some guys trying to drag a girl away from it. As soon as they get her out of the barrier surrounding the house, a monster attacks them. The guys flee, leaving the girl behind, and she believes she's going to be killed. But Shin saves her and tells her he is home. The two of them talk inside the house, and the girl introduces herself as Tiara Lucent. She thanks Shin for saving her and asks if he knows her master. Shin doesn't know what she is talking about, but Tiara mentions that everyone knows the acting shopkeeper of the Moon Sanctum, named Schnee Rizar. Shin remembers that Schnee was one of his support characters, and is surprised that the Moon Sanctum still exists. He confirms with Tiara that they're talking about the same person, and tells her that he and Schnee go way back. He wonders where she is now, but Tiara says she can't share this information since they only just met, and those guys outside were also after her. She says she can take a message for Schnee, but it will cost him 1,000 jewels. Shin replies that he only has jails and shows her a jail coin. Tiara wonders if he just took it out of an item box and notes that only kings and elders of limited species can use them. She explains that gold jail coins are used to amplify magic and are worth at least 10 billion jewels. Shin thinks back to the game, where jails were the smallest currency. Tiara then asks who he is, and Shin simply states that he is a high human. Tiara is shocked and says the high humans went extinct long ago. She explains that there were once 6 high humans in this world, but they vanished during the dusk of prosperity 500 years ago. Shin wonders what that is, and Tiara explains that it was a historical event where many people disappeared, including the high humans. Shin realizes she must be talking about the mass logout event, and understands that this world is now 500 years after the game ended. He thanks her for the information and gives her the jail coin. Tiara is hesitant to accept it and asks if he won't take it back, but Shin assures her he won't. She is delighted to hold the jail coin, and Shin notes it should be useful for her since elves use magic. Tiara asks if she looks like an elf to him, and Shin says she does. Tiara is surprised because her master even cast an illusion spell on her. Shin wonders why she would need to do that, and Tiara explains that black-haired elves are considered a symbol of misfortune. Because of this, monsters often attacked her, and her village exiled her. Her master rescued her and placed a barrier around the house, where she has lived for over a century. Shin realizes she was attacked earlier because of her curse, and wonders if it can be removed. Tiara says her master is researching a way, but she's fine living inside the barrier if it means not bothering anyone. Shin asks if her hair was always black, and she says it used to be silver until the curse turned it black. Shin analyzes her and finds that she has a cursed title called Cursed Gift, which causes her hair to be black and attracts monsters. He tells her the curse can be removed and uses his Purify skill. The curse is partially lifted, turning some of her hair back to silver. Tiara is overjoyed to see her silver hair again and can't believe the curse has been lifted. Shin suggests she try stepping outside the barrier. She hesitates, but Shin assures her that he'll defeat any monsters that appear. They walk outside the barrier, and no monsters attack. Tiara is glad her curse is gone and is amazed at how big the sky is. They return to the Moon Sanctum, and Tiara thanks Shin for everything. She asks what he plans to do now, since her master won't return for a while. Shin says he'll check the nearby town to learn more about this world, and hopes his other support characters may be here too. Tiara gives him a letter of introduction to help him enter the Berwick Kingdom without standing in line for inspection. Shin asks if she's sure about giving it to someone she just met, and she says it's fine because he lifted her curse and seems trustworthy. She promises to inform him when her master returns. Shin travels to Berwick, and a soldier escorts him inside upon seeing the letter. The soldier explains that these letters act as identification and can even grant audiences with royalty. Shin goes to the Adventurers Guild to gather information. He tells the receptionist he wants to register and is directed to the first floor. There, he meets another receptionist who looks exactly like the first. She is her twin sister Silica, and the other is Celica. Silica asks Shin to fill out the registration form and pay the fee. Later, we see Shin at a tavern connected to the guild, surprised that making a guild card takes a whole day. Silica brings him food and stares at him. Shin asks if she needs something, and she asks to verify his letter of introduction. Shin agrees, but doesn't want to meet the guildmaster so soon. Silica tells him it's too late. The guildmaster is already behind him. The scene cuts to Shin talking with the guildmaster, Barlux Hein. Barlux asks to see the letter and places another letter on top of it. They start to glow, and Shin is surprised. Barlux explains that genuine letters resonate this way. He asks who gave the letter, and Shin says it was Tiara. Barlux assumes something major happened if she forgot to explain how the letters work. He further explains that the letters allow entrance to most nations without inspection. Later, Shin is at an inn and reflects on the rough day, resolving to raise his rank tomorrow. The next day, he gets his guild card, now dressed more appropriately. Celica explains the ranks from SS to G, and Shin is starting at rank G. She explains he can take quests up to 2 ranks above. Shin chooses to harvest HK grass and leaves. Celica notes that Shin is strange. He's skilled enough to be recognized by Barlux, but doesn't seem intimidating. In the forest, Shin struggles to find hillgrass, even after 3 hours, but notes the monsters are weak, giving him time. He notices a monster behaving strangely on his map and investigates. It's a skull-faced jack at level 359, which had just attacked a wagon. Shin recalls the guild talking about this problem monster and decides to act. He attacks, but the monster parries everything. Noting its light-type weapon, Shin deduces it's a unique monster, unusual for an undead. He fights back, but his sword is nearly broken. Disabling his limiters, he defeats the skullface with a single blow. The sword flies off and lands in a castle room, startling onlookers. Princess Ryan orders an appraisal to determine its origin, suspecting the thrower must be incredibly strong. Meanwhile, Shin casually shows the monster's core at the guild, shocking everyone. Elle appears and examines the gem, while Celica privately serves Shin. A mysterious man named Wilhelm, feared for his drain ability weapon, joins Shin. After eating, Shin heads to the library to research the Dusk of Prosperity. Simultaneously, a high-level meeting discusses the mysterious sword and Shin's strength. Shin meets a girl named Mill and shares food with her before Wilhelm from the orphanage takes her back. Mill randomly asks Shin to save someone in the northern woods. Before leaving, Shin visits Tiara to leave a message for Schnee. He shows her the sword, which she recognizes as Schnee's, made of rare monster materials. Tiara is used to Shin bringing legendary items. Shin gives her a message receipt to help deliver messages. He travels to the northern woods and finds a shrine with a baby fox inside a barrier. He purifies it from poison and a curse, but soldiers surround him. He defeats them and their boss. The fox uses its fox screen to assist, and Shin defeats the boss. He finds the fox is a rare elemental beast and makes it his partner. At that moment, Shin receives a letter from Tiara that Schnee has returned, ending our 2 episodes. The new anime begins with Yura waking from a dream and arriving at the shrine where he'll be living from now on. A girl nearby notices him and assumes he's cute, and probably there to pray for good grades since he's holding a book. But Yura, who doesn't believe in gods, walks past the shrine and heads to the house next to it. Finding no one inside, he enters and unexpectedly hears the sound of girls changing clothes. Embarrassed and thinking it's best to leave, he turns around only to be met with flying soap thrown to purify his filth by the 3 sisters, who turn out to be shrine maidens he now has to live with. Yuna, one of the sisters, wants to forget the awkward incident and asks Yura to treat them like family since they'll be living together. But Yura doesn't feel the same way and prefers to focus on his studies. Later, Yuna shows Yura his room, which she cleaned herself, albeit hastily. As she searches for something, a pile comes crashing down, and Yura tries to save her, but the other 2 sisters walk in to see him crushed under a huge pile of racks, creating another awkward moment. Later, Asahi enters his room to get to know him better, but when he insists she should stay away, she misinterprets this and begins searching through his things, looking for pervy magazines. That night, Yura finds Yuna sleeping on the floor, exhausted from making talismans, and tries to cover her with a blanket, but she wakes up, creating yet another uncomfortable scene. The sisters arrive and again misread the moment. They ask why Yura is staying up late, and he reveals he's studying to get into Kyoto Medical College. The sisters talk about
Our new anime begins with a man who was a knight in his previous life, but reincarnates as the strongest cat and gets pet by an elf girl in another world. He decides to protect her at any cost and live his harem life. The story begins with a man who was killed by a demon and then reincarnates in another world. Then he sees his skills and realizes he can absorb anyone's skills after eating them. He thinks he reincarnates as a behemoth. After that, we see a start her day and goes to a dungeon. After that, when he sees his face, he realizes he is In today's video, we're telling the story of the anime film Kazumo no Gatari. The movie is set in a world where supernatural creatures live among humans. It begins with a title card showing the dates from March 26th to April 7th, before introducing the main character, Koyomi Araragi. We first see Koyomi walking around, breathing heavily, with sharp fangs visible among his teeth. He finds a door, opens it slowly, and steps outside onto a balcony. Suddenly, his eyes widen as he notices the area swarming with crows. He descends a staircase, watching the crows, which seem to stare back at him. As he continues walking, the clouds part and the sun shines bright. The sunlight hits Koyomi, and his entire body bursts into flames. He runs around, screaming, frightening the crows away before he falls off the building. We flash back to March 25th, where Koyomi is walking down the street. He stops when a